far beyond the orbit of Neptune. In the deep cold of the solar system's outermost frontier, there drifts a world both familiar and mysterious. It's a place few have seen, and fewer still expected to change the way we define the very word planet. This world is Pluto. For decades, Pluto was more than just the ninth planet in our textbooks. It was a symbol, a tiny wanderer in a sea of giants, a cosmic underdog that captured the imaginations of children, educators, and astronomers alike. Its distance made it elusive, its nature ambiguous, but its presence undeniable. In the minds of many, Pluto wasn't just another rock in space. It was the edge of the known, a doorway to the unknown, a solitary world in a deep, dark sea. But over time, as technology advanced and our understanding of the solar system deepened, Pluto's position in our celestial family came under scrutiny. What followed was a scientific reckoning, a cultural upheaval, and a new perspective on what it means to be a planet at all. The search for Pluto began with a mystery. In the early 1900s, astronomers believed there was something hidden beyond Neptune, an unseen planet disturbing the orbits of the outer giants. They called it Planet X, and its gravitational pull became a tantalizing trail of clues. In 1930, a 24-year-old American astronomer named Clyde Tombaugh, working at the Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff, Arizona, made a historic discovery. After months of examining photographic plates, he noticed a faint object shifting its position among the stars. Planet X, it seemed, had been found. It was named Pluto, after the Roman god of the underworld, fitting for a planet hidden in the farthest reaches of the solar system. The name was suggested by an 11-year-old girl in England, and it stuck. At that moment, Pluto entered not just the records of science, but the hearts of people all over the world. But even then, Pluto was puzzling. It was smaller than expected. Its orbit was eccentric, tilted, stretched, and out of sync with its neighbors. Yet, its planetary status was rarely questioned. It was a planet because it had been called one. And for much of the 20th century, that was enough. As the decades passed and astronomical tools improved, Pluto began to reveal its strangeness. It was tiny, smaller than Earth's moon. Its orbit sometimes brought it closer to the Sun than Neptune, crossing the boundary that supposedly separated the 8th and 9th planets. Even stranger, Pluto was not alone. In the 1990s, scientists began discovering other small, icy bodies in a region now known as the Kuiper Belt, a vast, torus-shaped field of frozen leftovers from the solar system's formation. Many of these objects were roughly similar in size and composition to Pluto. Some, like Makemake and Haumea, had even more eccentric features. Then came Eris, discovered in 2005. It was nearly the same size as Pluto and possibly even larger. If Pluto was a planet, then so was Eris, and Makemake, and Haumea, and perhaps dozens, hundreds more. Suddenly, astronomers faced a dilemma: either redefine what it means to be a planet or prepare for a solar system with 50 or more of them. The cozy, orderly model of 9 planets began to crack under the weight of discovery. In 2006, the International Astronomical Union, IU, convened in Prague to settle the matter. It was time to create a precise scientific definition of what a planet is. After days of debate, they released 3 criteria. To be a planet, an object must orbit the Sun directly, be massive enough for gravity to pull it into a nearly round shape, have cleared the neighborhood around its orbit. Pluto satisfied the first 2, but the third, the ability to gravitationally dominate its orbital zone, disqualified it. Pluto shares its orbit with many other Kuiper Belt objects. It hadn't cleared its path. It was part of a crowd. The result? Pluto was reclassified as a dwarf planet. The announcement sent shockwaves beyond the scientific world. Headlines cried, "Pluto demoted." Late-night comedians made jokes. School children felt robbed of a planetary companion they had proudly memorized in classrooms. For many, it wasn't just a matter of science. It was an emotional loss. But within the scientific community, there was a growing consensus. Pluto had not become less interesting. In fact, the redefinition invited a broader view of planetary diversity. Pluto, it turned out, was more intriguing than anyone had realized. In a twist of timing and fate, 2006 was also the year NASA launched New Horizons, the first spacecraft ever sent to Pluto. It would take nearly a decade to arrive, traveling at over 50,000 kilometers per hour through the frozen dark. In July 2015, New Horizons reached Pluto and made history. As it flew past the icy world, it beamed back images that stunned scientists and silenced skeptics. Pluto was no lifeless rock. Its surface was dynamic, young in places, marked by mountains of water ice and plains of frozen nitrogen. It had an atmosphere. It had weather. It had a massive heart-shaped glacier, informally named Tombaugh Regio, that instantly became an icon. And it had 5 moons, including the largest, Charon, which was so massive that Pluto and Charon actually orbit a point in space between them, like a double-planet system. The mission proved what Pluto advocates had long believed. This small world was no mere leftover. It was complex, active, and stunningly beautiful. The images from New Horizons reignited global fascination. Overnight, Pluto went from dwarf to darling. Its downgrade in classification no longer seemed like an insult, but a redirection, a call to appreciate Pluto for what it truly is, a world unlike any other. Pluto's journey, from discovery to planetary fame to controversial reclassification, is not just the tale of a celestial body. It's a mirror held up to our understanding of science itself. Science is not static. It does not cling to tradition or sentiment. It evolves. As our tools sharpen and our knowledge deepens, so too must our definitions. Pluto didn't change, we did. The very debate around Pluto helped the public engage with astronomy in a way that few topics do. It made people care. It made people ask, what makes a planet anyway? And in that curiosity lies the power of science. Not just to inform, but to inspire. Pluto is now the face of the Kuiper Belt, a representative of a vast and mysterious region filled with secrets still waiting to be uncovered. It reminds us that our solar system is more complex, more diverse, and more beautiful than the simple list of planets we memorized as children. Today, Pluto continues its long, lopsided journey around the Sun. It takes 248 Earth years to complete a single orbit. For most of that time, it remains in deep cosmic twilight, distant and cold, but never forgotten. In many ways, Pluto has become more than just a world. It's a symbol of change, of resilience, of the tension between what we feel and what we know. It is a reminder that even in the outermost reaches of space, stories unfold that captivate the human heart. Whether we call it a planet or a dwarf planet, Pluto remains a world worth knowing, a place that has taught us as much about ourselves as it has about the solar system. And perhaps in the grand tapestry of the cosmos, that is the truest definition of importance.